half a percentage point. That's the kind of number that sounds like a rounding error in a product disclosure document. In practice, over a 40-year working life compounded inside a super fund, half a percentage point in annual underperformance relative to a benchmark costs the typical full-time worker around $100,000 at retirement. APRA's 2025 performance test found 7 products that failed the benchmark. Most Australians don't know those products exist. Some of them are in one. Stay until the 8-minute mark. I'll show you how to find out if yours is one of them and what to do if it is. APRA, the Australian Prudential Regulation Authority, has been running annual superannuation performance tests since 2021. The test assesses products against benchmarks for investment return over a rolling 7 to 10 year period after fees. Products that fall more than half a percentage point below the benchmark fail. The 2025 test assessed 563 super products. In the My Super segment, the default accumulation products that most PAYG employees with no active choice are in, all 52 products passed. 100% pass rate. Similarly, all 374 non-platform trustee-directed products passed. The problem is, in platform trustee-directed products, of the 137 platform TDPs assessed, 7 failed, 3 for the first time, and 4 as repeat failures. These products together held approximately 8,500 member accounts with about $1 billion in assets. A second consecutive failure triggers a legal requirement. The product must close to new members from the day after notification, but existing members can remain in it. They don't have to leave. Many don't, because they don't understand the letter they receive or don't take action. 40%, that's the share of platform TDPs with a 10-year track record that APRA flagged as showing significant investment underperformance relative to their benchmarks, even in 2025, even after years of the test running. The word significant is doing a lot of work in that finding. It means the gap isn't marginal. It means tens of thousands of Australians are in products where the documented multi-year risk-adjusted return has consistently lagged what a comparable benchmark product would have provided. Some of those products pass the formal test, not because they're performing adequately, but because the pass threshold is set at the minimum. Scraping through isn't the same as serving members well. Here's the dollar translation. Super consumers, Australia modelled the difference between stronger and weaker products across common fund types. Dud retirement phase and choice options can leave retirees between $57,000 and $205,000 worse off than they'd be in stronger alternatives. That's not a theoretical loss. That's a material reduction in retirement income over a person's life, accumulated through choices made decades earlier, often defaulted into rather than actively chosen. What the test is and isn't catching is the deeper issue. My Super is now largely cleaned up. The test has worked. The number of members in failing My Super products fell from around 1 million in 2021 to effectively 0 by 2025. But My Super is only one part of the super landscape. The choice and platform product space, which covers thousands of options on employer-administered platforms, advisor-recommended accounts, and legacy retail products, is far larger, far more complex, and only partially captured by the current test design. Many Australians in platform products have never actively chosen their investment option. They were defaulted into it by their employer's chosen platform or by an advisor's recommendation years ago that was never reviewed. Some of those options have high fees, poor long-term performance, and no obligation to proactively notify members they could be doing better. APRA's 2025 Comprehensive Product Performance Package, its CPPP dashboard, goes beyond the binary pass/fail result and shows broader data on fees, risk-adjusted returns, and net performance. It's publicly accessible. Most Australians have never looked at it. Here's the dynamic that's actively making things worse. The Super Members Council's 2026 report found that marketing and lead generation is actively pulling members out of strong APRA-tested funds and into higher fee platforms and SMSFs, adding over $160 million a year in aggregate extra fees. Some of this is legitimate restructuring for members with complex needs. A lot of it isn't. People are being moved into more expensive structures, partly because of slick marketing, not because the economics favour them. The APRA performance test was designed as a floor, it's a minimum standard below which no product should be allowed to survive. It's doing that job. What it can't do is stop members from voluntarily moving into untested or underperforming products in response to marketing. That's a decision that belongs to the individual, which means you need to be able to evaluate the offer independently. 3 moves to take today. Move 1. Find your exact fund name and investment option from your latest super statement. Not just the fund, the specific option within the fund. A fund like MLC or IOOF may have hundreds of products. The test results are reported by specific product name, not by fund name alone. Move 2. Once you have your exact product name, check APRA's results. If you're in My Super, look it up in APRA's 2025 My Super results and the ATO's Your Super comparison tool to confirm it passed and see how it compares on fees and net returns. If you're in a choice or platform product, search APRA's 2025 Trustee Directed Product Test Tables. If your product appears in the fail list or failed in 2024, you're in a product that has been formally assessed as underperforming the benchmark over a multi-year period. That's not a market opinion. That's an official finding. Treat it as a red flag. Move 3. Set an annual APRA day. Once a year, in September, after APRA releases its results, spend 30 minutes logged into your super, checking your fund and investment option, reviewing your fees and last year's returns, and cross-referencing APRA's latest performance test and CPPP dashboards. If your product has failed, or if the CPPP shows persistent fees above the segment median, treat that as a prompt to compare alternatives and consider switching. Switching decisions involve tax implications, insurance considerations, and the loss of any existing cover or benefits, all of which need to be understood before you move. But staying in a chronically underperforming product out of inertia costs real money. The compounding cost of 0.5 percentage point annual underperformance over 20 or 30 years is not a rounding error. It's a difference you can measure. This is general information, not personal advice. Your super situation depends on your specific fund, product, age, insurance needs, and retirement timeline. A licensed financial advisor can assess whether your current product is serving you well and model the impact of any switch. If you want to understand what happens when APRA actually forces a fund to close or merge and what it means for your balance and insurance, subscribe. New video every week. There's a plain English version of the APRA Day Checklist in the newsletter. Link in the description. This is the fine print AU because someone has to read it.